is that the more I date women, the more I find myself understanding heterosexual men. Let me explain. Exhibit A. I was on a first date with a girl, who asked me out, by the way, this is relevant, because when the check came, she never once made a move to pay. Not even like the fake, let me reach for my purse move. And though I don't mind paying on a date, part of me felt like, the offer would have been nice. I was also a little taken aback that she didn't even say thank you. And I never heard from her again. It really made me feel like she just asked me out so she could have a free dinner. And the moment I thought that, I was like, oh my God, I sound like all of my guy friends right now. And my argument against why guys should pay for dates has always been like, look, girls take hours to get ready. Our investment is looking really nice for you. Makeup, clothes, that costs money too. But we were both girls in this situation. We both took hours to get ready.
They only seem to notice a problem with their own behavior after they've been hit with the exact same treatment. And even then, it's not real accountability, it's just damage control. Watch closely, and you'll see the same pattern every time. They'll bounce back and forth between two completely opposite beliefs, whichever one pays off best in that moment. Take dating as a perfect example. A woman might scoff at the idea of splitting the bill on a first date, acting like it's some kind of insult to her femininity. But fast forward to a divorce settlement, and suddenly she's the loudest voice in the room, demanding a perfectly even 50-50 is split. Do you see the contradiction? When it's time to enjoy the perks, tradition rules. When it's time to share the costs, equality becomes the new anthem. This isn't just about one dinner check or one marriage. It's a snapshot of a much bigger cultural double standard, where accountability is negotiable. And principles are only convenient when they come with a payout.
On another date, I went back to a girl's house and I ended up making friends with her cat. That's not a pun, I'm talking about her literal, actual animal. And she said, wow, my cat never likes anyone. I better go out and buy a wedding dress. And again, I felt like I got some serious perspective. I have been guilty of making these kinds of jokes on dates with men. I never really thought anything of it. I was just being silly. But then when I was on the receiving end of it, I suddenly understood the panic.
I'd love to show my ear off.
Bold move with a face like yours. Now, scientists, I won't dwell on it. Scientists...
That was savage.
Okay, so yesterday I spoke to her. It wasn't yesterday, it was like 2 days ago.
I hope she leaves you. You suck. What a terribly insane joke. Coming from a guy that looks like a wet thumb. That fell on the floor of a barber shop. I think I speak for everybody when I say you do not deserve her. You actually don't deserve love.
I had a guy over and he came out of the bathroom and he left the seat up and I was like, hey, you're in a ladies' household, put the seat back down when you leave the bathroom. And he was like, oh, okay, sorry, no problem. And a week later I was at his house and I came out of the bathroom and he was like, excuse me, you're in a man's household, put the seat back up when you leave the bathroom. And I was like, okay, technically that's a fair point, technically. But it's not a fair point that's gonna get you laid, so pick your battles.
Oh, okay. It's like do what I like so that you get laid.
Nothing sends them into a tailspin faster than plain, unshakable logic. Basic common sense is like kryptonite because it forces a reality check and reality doesn't bend to feelings. But here's the kicker. The only thing they seem to dislike more than logic is a man who can't be manipulated with physical attraction. Think about it. The entire playbook relies on one key advantage: the ability to sway decisions with looks, charm, and access. When that stops working, when a man stands firm, keeps his frame, and refuses to be controlled by desire, it's game over. That's when the frustration shows. Because if you can't win with facts, and you can't win with temptation, what's left? It exposes how much of the modern dating strategy is built on power plays rather than partnership. In the moment a man steps outside that trap, the whole system starts to crack.
29.
Oh, okay.
Why is it that women are allowed to ask how old a man is, but it's taboo for a man to ask how old a woman is?
I think it depends on the context. Like, you can ask a woman how old she is. Like, I wouldn't be offended if you asked me how old I am.
Did you pause waiting for me to ask? I won't ask. How much do you weigh?
Get 200 million, but your girl has to go to jail. Are you doing it? You're not doing it?
I've been in a relationship 8.5 years. I ain't doing it.
200 million?
I'm not doing it.
Is a girl with you now? Is it, okay, 200 million, but your man has to go to jail. Are you doing it?
Yeah.
Mental. I see you in the gym, bro.
Women need to be happy we judge them based on their looks. If we were going by what's on the inside, then none of them would be hot. Women will say Ashley is their BFF. Meanwhile, last weekend, they reported Ashley anonymously to CPS and set up a fake Tinder account under her husband's name. They'll be like, yeah, but Ashley needs me now. She's going through a divorce. I'm like, yeah, you psychopath, because of you.
It's honestly wild how often you see this. So many women will quietly undermine each other, even their own close friends, without a second thought. And this isn't just petty drama. It's a pattern. That's exactly why the saying, single women keep women single, exists. Picture this. A married woman is planning a simple girls' trip. Her husband says, hey, I'm not comfortable with you flying off to Miami with a group of single friends. Instead of respecting that boundary, or at least talking it out, her single friend jumps in with, girl, that's controlling. You should leave him. Let that sink in. A husband expressing concern becomes a reason to end a marriage. Why? Because misery loves company. A single friend who's tired of being alone will often push her friend back onto the market, not out of love, but because it validates her own lifestyle. If her friend stays happily married, it shines a light on her own choices. This is how modern relationships get sabotaged from the inside. It's not always men. It's not always toxic masculinity. Sometimes the biggest threat to a stable relationship is the friend whispering in the background, quietly rooting for it to fail.
Women to be like, oh, I'll definitely ruin your life. Why? What is intriguing about that? Why not the exact opposite of that? Why not I will be pleasant and enjoyable to be around? Why not improve my life instead?
I told an abortion joke recently, and a woman approached me. She was like, hey, that's very insensitive. I've had an abortion. You shouldn't tell jokes like that. I was like, whoa, hey, sorry, I just told a joke. I think what you did was much worse. But, you know, either way, I'll see you at home later, honey. And again, all jokes. I love abortions. I paid for 2 last week. I'm a fan, right? You remember? Come on. It's all jokes. A friend of mine, she works at Planned Parenthood. She loves that joke. And I was like, I might have to get rid of it. People don't like it. She's like, no, you got to keep it. I was like, I might get rid of it. She's like, no, you got to keep it. I was like, I might get rid of it. She's like, no, you got to keep it. I was like, I might get rid of it. I was like, don't tell me what to do with my body of work. She's like, every joke's a miracle. But I don't want to upset anybody, you know? Ah, jeez.
Normalize taking men on escape room dates so he can showcase his leadership and critical thinking skills up front. Good idea. Now normalize taking women on cooking class dates so they can showcase their wife skills up front. That is so tough.
I've heard that from a friend of mine. He said, don't love your job, job your love. So don't
I love that.
Yeah, and when he said that to me, that hit me. And I was like, my business is me jobbing my love.
9 out of 10 women will never understand why men can stare into a campfire alone, in quiet, and call it the best night of their life. Her mind demands constant distraction. Babe, let's go to Mykonos. Let's go on a boat. Let's watch Netflix. Vacations, parties, gossip. Anything but silence, because silence exposes her emptiness. Solitude sharpens men. We call it strength. She calls it boring. After men turn 25 years old, every quiet night by a fire becomes a silent war against demons she'll never see. Women recharge in distractions. Men recharge in solitude.
Women are more emotional. Men are more emotionally intelligent. Women will say men need more emotional intelligence, but you experiencing emotion does not mean you have emotional intelligence. The definition of emotional intelligence is knowing how to understand, control, and use your emotions. So you tell me, Is you feeling emotions and letting them out on other people, emotional intelligence? Or is feeling the emotions, not allowing them to dictate your actions and still doing what you need to do on a daily basis, emotionally intelligent? Because you tell me, who exercises that second trait?
Extremely important topic, both for men and women. The first thing that's important to understand is that disrespect is typically a process. It happens gradually over time. The best predictor of overt disrespect is covert disrespect, which are small behaviors that have plausible deniability. So if you don't want to have a larger problem on your hands further down the road, it's important to address disrespect while it is still in its smaller forms. The clearest examples of the process of disrespect are seen in high schools and prisons. A bully doesn't usually go straight to shaking down his target. That's actually pretty risky. If he doesn't know who he's dealing with, he could always pick the wrong guy to mess with, and that's going to make his life more difficult and complicated than he intended. So what these folks tend to do is they kind of test their victim. A classic example is bumping into their target as they're crossing paths in a hallway and seeing how he responds. This is a subtle test because there's some plausible deniability here, like, oh, well, maybe this person just wasn't looking where he was going. It happens. Sometimes people jostle into each other. However, if the bully bumps into the target and the target says, "Excuse me," that person is now pegged as a target for escalation. On the other hand, if the target were to respond appropriately and cast a warning glance at the bully or issue a verbal warning, that bully could always play it off. "Whoa, hey man, chill out. What got you so worked up?" But he would probably think twice about escalating the situation. Now, the issue is that most bullies kind of know that they're bullies. And while women absolutely can be bullies, that is, they are intentionally using tactics to inflict emotional or psychological pain in order to get what they want,
The real issue is that disrespect toward men has become so normalized that many don't even recognize it as disrespect anymore. What used to be a clear line of basic courtesy is now brushed off as just being honest or speaking my truth. And when a man finally calls it out, when he calmly checks the behavior instead of just swallowing it, watch what happens. Instead of pausing for self-awareness, the reaction is usually anger or outrage. Suddenly, he's the problem for daring to set a boundary. It's almost like they believe they should have free rein to say or do anything without consequences, while men are expected to stay silent and just take it. This isn't just about one argument or one bad day. It's a cultural shift where double standards get disguised as empowerment. But respect is a two-way street, and the moment men start enforcing that truth, the discomfort exposes just how far the goalposts have been moved.